Am I on? Ladies and gentlemen, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. Wait!
Circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast.
You're supposed to apparently go to the dentist 2 weeks ago and miss that appointment. And kids, that's why you got to make sure you make those dentist appointments, because you might get elbowed in the face and lose your teeth.
Thank you, Luke.
That's going to really stop anything, though. So, yeah.
I don't think it's going to stop Derek either. Luke, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, so you might be thinking that this signing means nothing, and it's not that big a deal. You think it's just a minimal signing, and that's pretty understandable. I mean, you think that some Spurs fans might be overly excited and overhyping a cornball, and it all makes sense. I feel as if this signing has not been discussed well enough, and many journalists and talking heads are letting us down. But nothing new there, I guess. But I personally find it obnoxious that the only time mainstream media talks about us making a great move is if we're picking a lottery pick or we're in the mix for a big name to land to us. Don't get me wrong, I was totally on board to acquire KD since the price was right, but I think we all knew what the Spurs needed. We needed a small forward with defense and shooting upside, and a center who can keep up at least above water when Wemby sits. And the Spurs have done an exceptional job to address every single need year after year since the beginning of the rebuild, from drafting defensive anchors to approaching the point guard issue to grabbing that small forward Harrison Barnes was holding that spot for, to now grabbing a center. But not only just any center, by far the best backup center we could have asked for. Now, if you only hear your Spurs news through a couple Twitter accounts or ESPN, it can be easy to shrug off what those beautiful minds in San Antonio just did. I'm going to ignore the rules of three for this video and express two reasons why I think Luke KORNET makes all the difference in the world for San Antonio. Since one of my points encapsulates just about everything I love about him, I don't think it will take much convincing.
The robot dunk.
So let's start with effort. I cannot express enough how insane I found myself going when San Antonio Spurs fans were bombarding my DMs to try and convince me that DeAndre Ayton was the way to go. People were genuinely baffled when I would adamantly say with my whole chest, absolutely not. I think too often we want guys based on names and reputation alone. DeAndre Ayton is all name and reputation. And let's be honest, the last time you watched him play was probably the finals or before he got his contract extension. There were many reasons why I didn't want him. Take your pick. Let's see. Questionable off-court decisions, unreliable in late-game situations. But the number one thing I could not get behind was grabbing a player with questionable effort. Sure, grabbing the undrafted corny goofball with less than impressive box score stats isn't as sexy as getting your hands on a former lottery selection. I get it, but similar to one of my all-time favorite players in Derek White, this underdog is the embodiment of effort itself. He brings great defense to the table, and with a little research, you will find that he is not only high motor, but effective in executing it. I mean, just look at some of these defensive stats, man. He ranked 4th in the NBA in field goal percentage allowed in the restricted area defensively. He fell just behind Chet Holmgren, Daniel Gafford, and Victor Wet Bananas. And if you want a longer sample size, since 2022, he is ranked number 9 in opponent field goal percentage within 6 feet closest to the defender. He's just behind names like Rudy Gobert, Giannis, and once again, Wemby. He brings defensive tenacity, and that was an area that was non-existent last year. I mean, yeah, Sochan is a versatile defender, but he shouldn't have to be the primary center. That's just absolutely ridiculous, right? And I also want to address his absurd offensive rebound numbers. He ranks 17th in the NBA on offensive rebounds. 13 of those players average more minutes. Amongst his peers who average less than 20 minutes per game, he ranked 4th. He gets boards and he gives you putbacks. Second chance points is something the Spurs struggle with significantly. It's the small things. It's not all about the stats. We can leave that to Wemby, Fox, Harper, maybe even Vassell next season. But KORNET will do the underappreciated dirty work. Come to think of it, I expect him to be undervalued until we are winning. Similar to Jeremy Sochan. But when we start to win, you'll know why. He plays winning basketball. Now, I want to discuss what actually gets me excited.
What is all this? It's all part of the healing process.
Versatility. You're probably tired of hearing me talk about this, but I don't know how to ignore it. Brian Wright and company have gone out of their way to draft and sign versatile players, whether it be Sohan, Castle, Harper, Bryant. They are all versatile in what they can bring to the table. Now, I'm going to bring up something about KORNET that I think has been lost in the discussion, but he is not just a bruiser. He can actually give you some space as well. Now, before you turn off the video and say this dude doesn't know ball, I want to talk about something I find interesting. If you didn't know Luke KORNET before Boston, I actually wouldn't blame you if you didn't know him before Boston. He was an undrafted player who ended up playing for the Knicks, and how many Spurs fans keep up with the East? Let's be real, we just don't, not really. But in college, he holds the record for the most three-point shots scored by any 7-footer ever. He came into the NBA as a three-point shooter, a stretch. So you're probably saying and asking, what's the point? Who cares? I mean, he hasn't played that way in a long time, so how does that help us? Shooting, just like anything else, is a skill that you learn, and if you are out of practice, you might struggle a tad, but it's still there. In other words, you don't hold a national record for the most threes by anyone your size and completely lose that ability. Luckily though, we will more than likely not ask him to do this, but that shooting touch can come in handy if we're in a pinch because he has shown flashes of a nice mid-range game as well. Will we need it? Probably not. Does it help in other areas such as shooting touch and situational basketball? Absolutely yes. Now, continuing on the theme of versatility, let's talk about his role. He is one of the most effective pick and roll players in the NBA. He and Tatum have put on a show in that regard. What gets me excited is what this could actually look like next to Dylan Harper, who is phenomenal in the pick and roll. Harper will have a multitude of options that he simply just didn't have in college. The amount of pressure we will put on the rim will surely help us win games. Now, along with this theoretical shooting potential and pick and roll ability, he's also smart. No, not just because he attended Vanderbilt, but he has great basketball IQ. Sure, he won't be bringing the ball down the court and facilitating, but he is a connector of sorts. He makes the extra pass, and this will come in handy when teams inevitably collapse and we get that open man in the corner or wing. I have one more point about his versatility, just one more. He is capable of switches. Now, not on the same level as Carter or Sohan, but in that he is suitable for a center. He isn't easy to deal with. And I'm sure you've seen the KORNET contest, right? The move in which he will jump regardless of where you're shooting on the court. He does this in order to obscure the ball handler's view of the basket, and it's actually helped. I say all of that to say this. KORNET is a jack of many trades, and he has transformed his career into a bruising defensive anchor who has way more in his bag than meets the eye. So you should be excited. Lord knows that the San Antonio Spurs needed another center. Gone are the days of relying on a power forward out of position or undersized bigs to get it done. We have an actual center this time, and a damn good one at that. So guys, I want to say once again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Means the world to me. I want this channel to continue to grow. I know it's been a while, but we're back on our grind, baby. But yeah, so if you guys could give me a like, give me a subscribe, tell your friends about it. I will get with you guys later. Until next time, bye.